Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, everybody who's watching, whether you're in the live or you are watching this later. Happy Sunday. Just coming on here really quickly. I was actually going to go live last Sunday and I ended up having issues with my Wi Fi. Did not have Wi Fi for 2 days last weekend. So I'm trying to do this live every Sunday just to catch up and just to talk about things that are new and going on with the podcast and in life. So I actually have a list on my phone and I'm gonna need a new phone soon. But um, keeping a list on my phone of things to talk about every Sunday. So last week we didn't have a new episode of Speaking Tongues because it was Memorial Day and it was a holiday. And I know here in the U.S. and other parts of the world, Monday was a holiday. So I took advantage of that. But this Monday, tomorrow, we will be back with a new episode and I'm really excited about that one. But I didn't talk about the episode from 2 weeks ago, which we talked about um, Yiddish with a Yiddishist named Michael Yashinsky. And that episode was so much fun. We talked about his work as a translator, as a playwright, his work as a writer, an actor, a performer, which was really cool because he, hold on, he had a lot of really great information, historical information about the Yiddish language. And Yiddish, I've been wanting to talk about Yiddish on the show for a long, like have a real good conversation about Yiddish for a long time because I'm a New Yorker, lifelong New Yorker, and I feel like the way that we communicate in New York is made up of so many different languages that reflect historical migration in the city. So we have a lot of Yiddish words in our New York parlance. We have a lot of Italian, a lot of Spanish, of course, African American vernacular in the way that we communicate in New York City. So I had a lot of fun talking with him about that and where some of these words we're familiar with in Yiddish, where they come from and what they mean. And we went through a whole list, and it was so surprising to find out words that, what they really mean. And throughout the episode, Michal really gives a lot of examples of the Yiddish language and what things really mean, and the etymology of a lot of words. So if you are someone who likes and prefers those episodes where people are really dropping their language throughout the conversation, definitely make sure that you listen to that if you haven't already. As for this week coming up, this is a really special episode. I'm not going to give it away too much, but one of the things I will say I'm really excited about to do with the Speaking Tongues podcast is to talk to people about the way that language affects their lives and the way that language comes into their lives. And so we're talking with someone who is multilingual and has a career that language has played a big role in. And this conversation was really important for me also, and maybe even for the 18-year-old me who loved languages but had no idea how I could use languages in a career because those were just things that nobody told me about. And having a chance to really talk to this guest about the transformative way to use language in their career and in the way that language really helps you to connect with other cultures, and the different levels of connection that we can see, through language in different cultures, I think is really important. And that's what I try to do with this podcast. I really want people to understand that, it's not just sitting and parsing nouns or declining verbs. That's not the conversations that we're having. We're talking about, it's really about how language comes through all of us and expresses, ourselves. We can express ourselves through different languages and through our careers and our lifestyles and our passions. And so I think this episode coming up is a really good example of where I think Speaking Tongues will be moving in the future and how the conversations that we're having are going to be taking on more depth, and talking to people from different industries about what they do and how they're able to learn languages. So please check that out. It will be out tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed and you will listen to it. And just also, it's an episode that's on the shorter side. So it's a good one. It's a great episode. I noticed that I have a member of this YouTube channel, and I just wanted to say thank you to the newest member of this channel, Noreen. And I really appreciate you being here. So thank you so much for becoming a member and for listening to the podcast. It really means a lot to me. So this has been a really busy week, to say the least. I have been working on the podcast. There's a couple of things coming up. June is tomorrow. And June's going to be really hectic, especially here in New York City. I don't know if you can hear that screaming. That is my neighbors who scream all day long. They're screaming right now. But June is going to be really crazy in New York. The New York Knicks are headed to the NBA Finals for the first time in 27 years, and everybody's excited about that. The city is buzzing and alive right now. We're all Knicks fans. We all better be Knicks fans, is what I should say. So the NBA Finals is going to be huge. It's going to be a big deal here. And then World Cup starts on the 11th of June. You may not know this about me. I'm a huge fan of football, love World Cup. I admit it's not without its problems in recent years. There's been controversy and, other stuff. But I'm excited for the games. I'm excited for the teams. It's a different format this year. We're seeing an expanded format. So there's a lot going on. And in New York City, we are hosting a handful of games. So all week long, there was a lottery that our mayor, the mayor, Mamdani, had implemented. So, you basically go on every morning, 10 o'clock it opens, you enter your name, your address, and it's only open to New York City residents. And then you had an opportunity to choose 3 games that you prefer to see out of maybe a list of 6, the games that are being played in the area. So I spent a good portion of every morning this week trying to register for that. So we'll see. I might be attending my first World Cup game if I get chosen and I'm able to buy these $50 tickets. So that was really exciting. But I just want to say for, people watching, I'm going to be really cranking out content during World Cup. It's one of my favorite events. Look forward to it every 4 years. I've been following World Cup since 1998. World Cup was my moment. So I'm going to be most active here on YouTube, but also on Substack. And probably Instagram as well. So if you want to keep up and see where I'm going, what I'm doing, how I'm documenting World Cup here in New York City, and hopefully be connecting with some fans and learning some chants. I really want to learn some chants to support the teams that are playing when I'm out watching games and at watch parties and stuff like that. So I'm really excited. This is a true international experience as always, and I'm excited that it's right here in my backyard and get to take advantage of it. Substack, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure that you are finding me over there because that's where I'll be most of the time. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be so much fun. And I'm excited to see who wins, but we'll talk more about that in June. The other thing in June is that my birthday is coming up. So it's gonna be a crazy month, and I didn't even mention Juneteenth or Pride Month. So it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna really be a lot. Um, so we talked about the Knicks, talked about World Cup, talked about the new episodes. Oh, one more thing about World Cup is that, I also love to read. And I have um, some book recommendations for anybody who wants to read around the world and celebrate these teams who've made it to the World Cup. So you can look for that. That'll be probably out on Instagram or Substack. And my bookshop, where I receive a small commission for every book that is sold on one of my lists, that will be active too. And I would love some support. It's not a huge commission. It's, maybe, I don't even think it's like $2, but maybe it depends on the cost of the book. I'm not really sure. It's a really small commission, but every little bit helps. But I'm relaunching that, my bookshop.org. I'm relaunching my Patreon, and I'm really thinking about getting a book club going again. I had one going back in 2021, and it didn't work out the way that I wanted it to work out. So um I'm thinking of starting that again. And I guess I'll see how the reaction is to the World Cup, the Read Around the World Cup. I don't know what to call it yet. It'll be something like that. But we're going to read around the world while we're watching the World Cup and after the World Cup, because world literature is important. But I have all these recommendations for you all, and I should have that out, sharing that within the next couple of weeks, and probably even after the tournament, because we don't want to, let go of the magic too quickly. And so, for those of you who like to read, or those of you who like to read in translation, read widely and vastly, that list will be there for you to check out. Um, I also, just another thing that I noted is that Emily in Paris, which a show I love, let me just start there. I love Emily in Paris. Um, is ending after this next upcoming season. So if you watch the last season, which I don't think it was the best season, but I did like to see that they were in Italy quite a bit. Um, but Emily in Paris is ending after season 6. And I think that it might be time for us to realize that the Emily in Paris criticism, when the show first came out, 2020, 2021, that criticism was too harsh. And I've really been thinking about this since the announcement came this week or last week, or whenever it was, the last couple of weeks, because it's a show that I really enjoy. And of course, it's silly. And we know the creator, Darren Star. He's also the creator of Sex and the City, which was also nuts and fantastical and made no sense, but we all loved it. I know it's a different time than it was when Sex and the City premiered. However, I think Emily in Paris has done a really good job. And I think that I'm maybe going to save the majority of my commentary on this for either another video or maybe a Substack post. But really quickly, one of the biggest criticisms that that show has always received was that Emily's French is so terrible. And as somebody else whose French is terrible, as somebody else who is learning French, I take exception to that because, she I feel like she tried her best. And I feel a lot of the criticism that came from, among the other critical points, came from American women who were francophiles, excuse me. Um, and I think because of that, the time that it came out, a lot of us weren't traveling. We weren't traveling extensively as we may have wanted to. And so for me, a lot of that criticism came from a place that wasn't sincere. I don't want to necessarily assume it was jealousy, but that a lot of people were showing toward a character in the show, which was odd. But one thing I want to just leave with, and I promise I will get my thoughts out in another video or in a Substack post, maybe when the show is actually out and it's ending, and then I can have my wrap up thoughts on it. But on this note, on the French language note, she's a Midwestern girl. She's from Chicago. We don't know if she's ever even taken a French class or ever had a desire to go to Paris, but we saw her thrown into a situation where she made the best of it and she did what she could. Um, and her French didn't need to be perfect, because for a lot of us who've been studying for a long time, our French isn't perfect. And I think that we feel anxious because we know that the same people who judge Emily in Paris are judging us in the real life for even trying and showing up and making an effort, even if that effort is minimal. And there's a lot of anxiety about speaking in front of native speakers, for anybody in any language. And so that criticism always came off to me as exceptionally harsh and unnecessary, because number one, it's a show. It's not real life. And number two, people who were so critical about her language skills could have been a lot more compassionate, because French is not the easiest language to learn, not only because of the way it's pronounced and the letters that you don't pronounce, but also because we know that French speakers are not always very kind and empathetic toward learners of the language. And it just felt like an extension of that in the fantasy world when it came to Emily in Paris. But like I said, I'm going to give more of my thoughts on this once the last final season is out, and then I can wrap up my thoughts, because I've had a lot of thoughts over the years about Emily in Paris. So yeah, this is where I'm going to leave you. This is it. It was just a quick catch up, a quick moment to just share what's going on and to let you know what's coming up on this channel, what's coming up from Speaking Tongues, and just kind of some stuff that's on my mind. I'm going to try to do this every Sunday. So let me know if this is a good day, to have these conversations, if this is a good day for you to listen to these conversations and to join in the chat. I'm leaving my chat open to people who are subscribed. So please subscribe. Right now, I'm leaving it that way. It may change in the future, but make sure you're subscribed if you want to join. And I got to find a more regular time to do this so that I can announce actually when I'm going to go live here on YouTube. But that's where I leave you. There's a new episode coming out this week. Make sure that you're subscribed here. It'll be out first thing in the morning tomorrow. And the month of June, again, is going to be insane. So make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube, because I'll be here like crazy all month, and into July, until the end of World Cup. And we still got episodes going. So World Cup is happening, Speaking Tongues podcast is happening. It's all going on all at once. This is going to be really, really exciting. For me, it's going to be really, really hectic, and I'm really looking forward to it. So until next Sunday, I'll be back next Sunday, and I'll be back with new topics and talking about new episodes and have some new reactions for you all. But I'm going to end the stream here, and I'll see you all next week.